Hello again.
Hello.
I'm Timmie,
And I'm Jeanette.
and we are two friends and an owl. We get together we try to get together weekly. We used to get together almost every night. Um, but we have amazing conversations that elevate our brain, and we decided to get together and do this on a recording. And we put topics in our wisdom owl and we talk about them. So welcome, and hopefully you'll get as much goodness as we get out of it. Okay. Don't believe everything that you think. What? So one of the reasons why I brought that one up is because a lot of times we have so many thoughts in our brain. A lot of times we can deceive ourselves very easily, especially when we're in fear, the whole fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode, anger. I've thought some things in anger that were absolutely not true, but I swore they were. So don't believe everything you think. That was my topic. I've had many instances where I've been angry and I'm missing something and I swear somebody did it. And then I come down to find out that I'm the one who did it. Yeah. And then I've had examples with coworkers where, swore something was missing because of this person, or something was done because of this person, and then we find out it wasn't. We just are so sure in our brains sometimes, and we get locked into this. I know this is the truth. I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, I'm not so sure about that anymore. The moment that I start to think, I know this is the way it is, there's this little, I don't know what you call it, but there's something in me that pulls me back a little bit now because I've had too many experiences that I've witnessed. It's like, maybe that's not exactly the way you think it is.
Right.
So
I remember that being a big shift in my own personal development. Was at one point just starting to entertain the idea of, what if I'm wrong? You know,
that's a great question.
Yeah, it is. And there's even a, very what do you call it, successful business people who say that one of the a huge tool is actually to, if someone disagrees with you, to actually help them make their argument. Because a lot of times you help them make their argument about maybe something that you're doing, or a process that you've put into play, and you will be the one enlightened. Like, you will be the one enlightened about this, and you will be enhanced by the information if you help them make their argument, instead of instantly going to maybe defense mode and things like that. Because again, you're solidifying what you think.
Very true.
Versus expanding
Being
what
open.
you think. Yes. And expanding what you think is huge, on every level. So
Do you have an example of that? That would be interesting
of what?
Of, somebody, you actually helping their point.
Well, I can,
or even a made up example, just something.
Well, I can tell you something, on a personal level, as far as I'm sure that I'm not the only one who's ever had this experience. So, each of us could think about it on our own. But looking back at, say, maybe not an argument, but say you're having a disagreement with your partner or something, and you're sure that you're right, and then you go on further into life, and how often have we actually discovered, I was wrong.
Okay,
I was wrong,
I got you.
Whereas in the moment that this disagreement was occurring, if I had had the open space to say, but what if I am wrong? Or again, help that person make their argument, I might have had that realization years earlier, all that time prior. I would have come to the conclusion that I inevitably came to, which was, yeah, I was a little off, or I wasn't clear on where I was at. And again, instead of getting stuck in the thinking, it was expanded. It was opened up. Yeah.
Right. So how would it look though? I am hearing an example in my head, but like as you were saying, your partner comes to you and what were you saying about that? You swear that you're right about something.
Yeah, like you feel right. I felt right. I
Okay.
felt right in this argument.
So in order to help them, it would be like oh yeah, you could be right. Is that what you're saying?
That, or oh, okay, like say you were doing the what is it, the mirroring. If you were doing the mirroring conversation kind of thing. Okay. So if somebody came to you and said, when you did that thing, I I feel like you did that for this reason. A lot of times you come back with, well, no, genuinely, no,
Mhm.
I didn't do it for that reason. I was thinking this, and that's why I did it. And if instead, maybe if I was able to, like, I'm thinking of just generally an example, if I was able to say, oh, okay, so you felt that I was doing it for this reason. Let me think about that.
I
Or
see.
let me really process that and make sure that I was not. Even in saying, let me make sure that I'm aware of where I was, just to clarify for myself. Even that I would have had time to expand my thinking.
Mhm.
Versus, well, no, that's not where I was. That's not what I was doing. I know what my intentions were. I know what I did. I know I said the right thing, whatever it was, which just does not give you any room to open space. There's just
Mhm.
no open space in that.
In those moments, sometimes it can be difficult to
Yes.
have a little bit of space, even a little bit of space.
Mhm.
And it's more in the reflections. So that would be really interesting practice. Not that you want to be in those situations, but anytime some little hiccup comes up, rather than immediately saying no or to whatever situation, taking a breath
Mhm.
and in the moment saying, like, whoa, going into reaction mode. What do I want to do in this moment? Do I automatically think what I want to think, or do I want to stop and just start to examine this
Right.
in this moment? And that can all be done in the head. I'm not talking we have to verbally say
Right.
this out loud, but just take a pause,
Yeah.
and that would be definitely a practice
Oh, truly.
to.
Yeah. And again, just it's not that you're, it's not that you're telling the person, oh, I was wrong. I mean, it's not about that. It's more just, let me verify, let me
Mhm.
go inside and verify where I was at, what I was thinking, and make sure I understand what my motivations are. I mean, if someone else is reading it, because there's two things about that. One, it gives us the open space, but two, it also allows for the reality of the mirror, the reflective reality. I mean, if
Mhm.
reality is reflecting to you yourself, we're missing it a
Mhm.
lot if we're sitting in this, no, I know I'm right,
Right.
I know I'm right. What's being reflected to me is wrong, this is right. And that's not the way the universe works.
No. Surprise.
So if we want to skip all those really hard lessons, maybe we might want to take more advantage of those opportunities as they present themselves,
Yeah.
by not believing what we think.
Right.
What if we were just able to, as we're having a conversation, have that thought, wait, I'm not supposed to believe everything I think.
Right.
So let me, I need to go check in with myself, or I need to have a moment, space, or even not space, but I need some time to consider what my thoughts are even telling me.
Right.
Because we know that so much of our reaction, so much of our experience is past programming. I mean,
Right.
they're saying
Exactly.
95%. That means 5% of our experience is actually genuine and in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not great odds. I mean, those are not great percentages, really.
Right.
And it really gives credence to don't believe what you think.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in those moments, because the next thing that you do about what you think, it's not going to get you where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
As there've been times where I would visualize, oh, I've got to tell this person this so we can accomplish this. And then I'm like, why isn't this taken care of? I never told them, but I'll swear up and down that I did because I visualized it in my head. So I thought I told them. Don't you remember I told you? And then it's like, wait a second, maybe I didn't tell them. So there's these little tricky thoughts that we have that we think we said something. Oh, and the other thing about don't believe everything you think is the whole thing about memories. We've talked about that before, how every time you think about a memory, that memory actually changes because it's going through the filter of our brain at this moment. So that memory is no longer the exact thing that happened. And every time you rethink about it, it's changed. That blows my mind. That blows my mind thinking about that one.
yeah. And there's also the example of, a pattern. Say someone has a pattern of feeling abandoned,
Mm-hmm.
and they, because of some program in their childhood, they feel abandoned. So every story gets attached in an abandonment, from an abandoned perspective. And in
Yes.
reality, they may have had a parent who was super busy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where it all got started. So really, do you want every memory you have attached to abandonment? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Our coloring is actually from programming, and there is no reality at all. I mean, the reality perspective is just staggering when you think of it from that perspective.
It really is. I mean, I know for myself, in the work environment, um, where someone can look at me and I think they're mad at me.
Mhm.
So it's I don't believe everything you think. It's like you are not a mind reader, but we think we are, and we think we know what's happening. And we're so sure on it, and we're gonna die on that hill because we're sure that this person was mad at us, whereas maybe they just had a little gas.
Right, right.
And because it went through our filter, the abandonment filter, the I'm not worthy filter, the I'm not lovable filter, I'm not okay as I am filter. Ooh, they're mad at me. I did something wrong.
Yeah, if somebody's in a hurry, somebody could be
Yeah.
in a hurry, somebody could need to be somewhere. I mean, there's so many things, and we would misinterpret all of those things. And more often than not, literally more often than not, what someone else is doing has nothing to do with me. Nothing. What they're
Yep.
saying, what they're thinking, what they're doing. People are thinking about themselves and their own lives so much, they can't think about you
Yes.
the way that you think they think about you.
Yep.
They can't even consider that.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you have 95% of it is just programming anyway. So 95% of our thinking is reactive thinking.
Yes.
It's not even authentic, truthful moment, present moment thinking at all. And we're still confused as to why we shouldn't think, or why we shouldn't believe our thinking,
Mhm.
what we think. Yeah.
It's so crazy. The other thing I want to share is we watch movies all the time. And we'll watch the trailer and we'll think we had seen it before and we had just seen the trailer. So it's like, did we see that already? I think we saw it, but then we get into the movie, it's like, no, we never saw it.
No.
But we saw the trailer and it feels like we watched the whole movie and we didn't. So again, that goes back to don't believe everything that you think.
Okay.
Question your mind, question your thoughts.
Definitely.
You feel good?
Yeah.
You think you feel good?
Do I believe what I think? There you go. That's another story.
Well, thanks for joining us on another episode. Until next time, bye.
Bye.